frustration of hitting Claude's usage limits. Look, if you've ever found yourself locked out of your AI assistant right in the middle of a crucial workflow, yeah, you are definitely not alone. It's the worst. So today, we're completely shifting how you interact with this AI. We've got 11 practical rules to get through, and by the end of this explainer, you'll have a rock-solid, systematic approach to stop burning through those allowances and literally start working without boundaries. Let's get right into it. Okay, we have to dive into this shocking reality right up front. Claude doesn't just read your new prompt. It actually rereads your entire chat history before replying to the single message you just sent. Right? So your first message might cost you around, say, 500 tokens. But by your second message, you're already at 1,000. Your 10th message? 5,000 tokens. And if you reach 30 messages, you are looking at a staggering 232,000 tokens just to process that one single request. No way. Right? It's not that Anthropic is secretly charging you more. It's literally just the architecture of how the context window works. And this data, tracked by developer Aniket Parha, brilliantly illustrates the sheer scale of the problem. He discovered that a massive 98.5% of his tokens went entirely to rereading old conversation history. Only 1.5% actually went to generating the useful response. I mean, think about that. That means for every 100 tokens you burn, only 1.5 are doing any actual real work for you. You are essentially feeding Claude an entire novel every single time you ask a simple follow-up question. So here is the absolute crucial point. You must stop looking at your usage as counting messages. We have to shift your entire paradigm right now to counting tokens. Claude does not care how many times you hit enter. It only cares about the data volume. Just for a little context, a token is roughly 3/4 of a word, so a 100-word message is about 130 tokens. Once you internalize this shift from messages to tokens, well, everything changes, because every single rule we're about to cover relies on this one underlying philosophy: use fewer tokens per interaction. To tackle this and make it super practical, we're going to break our guidance down into 3 distinct phases. First, changing your prompting habits. Second, optimizing your Claude workspace. And third, timing and account management. All right, phase 1. Change your prompting habits. Let's see how physically changing the way you type and send prompts can immediately slash your token burn. Rule 1 is an absolute game changer. Never, ever follow up with a correction. When Claude gets something wrong, our human instinct is to quickly type, "No, I meant this," or "Hey, try that instead." Stop doing that. At just 5 messages deep, you're already reloading 7,500 tokens. Instead, just use these 3 simple steps. Hover over your original message, click Edit to fix your wording so it's more precise, and hit Regenerate. You get the exact same result, if not better, for a tiny fraction of the cost, all because you didn't add a new layer to the chat history. Building right on top of that, Rule 2 dictates that you should start a fresh chat every 15 to 20 messages. Look, if you let a chat drag on to over 100 messages, you have just burned over 2.5 million tokens, mostly on rereading dead history. Nobody wants that. So when you hit that 15 to 20 message threshold, simply ask Claude to summarize the conversation. Then copy that summary, open a brand new chat, and paste it as your very first message. It's brilliant. You preserve the context you need while completely ditching the bloat. Moving on, Rule 3 shatters a very common prompting myth. A lot of folks think splitting questions into separate, bite-sized messages gets you better answers. But in reality, 3 separate prompts equal 3 compounding context loads. Batching your questions into one prompt, like asking it to summarize this article, list the main points, and suggest a headline all at once, equals just one single context load. Not only does this save a literal mountain of tokens, but Claude's answers actually turn out better because it sees the full picture of what you want right from the jump. Okay, let's jump into phase 2, optimize your Claude workspace. What's really interesting here is how we can configure your software environment to passively save tokens without you even thinking about it. Rule 4 states you cannot fix what you cannot measure. Right now, Claude just gives you kind of a vague progress bar, right? But a developer built a fantastic local dashboard that reads the JSON-L files that Claude Code writes directly to your machine. Every session, every turn, and every single token is actually logged locally. By setting up this free open source dashboard using Python, you can scan those files and finally see your exact token usage in real time. It's incredibly eye-opening. Rule 5 leverages a highly underutilized feature: projects. So if you are uploading the same PDF to multiple different chats, Claude is basically re-tokenizing that massive document from scratch every single time. By using projects, you upload your file once. Claude intelligently caches it, and from then on, every new conversation inside that project references the document without burning your tokens to read it all over again. It is just so much more efficient. Combining rules 6 and 7, you really need to configure your system's setup. Every single time you start a prompt with Act as a professional marketer, that is token burn on repeat. Save your role and communication style in your memory and user settings once and let it apply automatically. Furthermore, Rule 7. Turn off features you aren't intentionally using. Things like web search and explore mode add heavy token loads to every response behind the scenes. If you're just trying to draft a quick email, toggle those tools off. Rule 8 requires matching the AI model to the exact task at hand. You absolutely do not need powerful, heavy models for simple tasks. Honestly, we need to stop using Opus, which is super token expensive, for simple proofreading or quick translations. Haiku can handle grammar, brainstorming, and formatting at a significantly lower cost. Keep Sonnet for your real work and daily heavy lifting, and only bring out the big guns like Opus for deep thinking and complex logic. Finally, let's dive into Phase 3, timing and account management. Here, we'll look at some macro strategies for navigating Anthropic's backend systems and billing to keep you online all day. Rule 9 is all about pacing yourself. See, Claude does not reset your limits at midnight. It uses a rolling 5-hour window. If you blast through your entire limit in a frantic 2-hour morning session, well, you're stuck. But if you consciously spread your work across a morning, afternoon, and evening session, you allow that rolling window to clear. By the time you return for your next block of work, your previous heavy usage has completely dropped off the radar. Wrapping up our guidance with Rules 10 and 11, establishing your account's safety nets. For Rule 10, remember that Anthropic naturally depletes your limit faster during peak server hours. So moving resource-intensive tasks to off-peak hours, like the evening or weekends, stretches your plan much further. And Rule 11, if you're on a Pro or Max plan, go into your settings right now and enable the extra usage feature. This ensures that if you do hit your limit, Claude won't brutally block you. Instead, it seamlessly switches to a pay-as-you-go model. At that point, it's less about saving tokens and more about the peace of mind of not losing your workflow at the worst possible moment. At first, I know, it might feel like a bit of a chore to completely rewire how you interact with a chat interface. But if you apply these 11 rules and just make them automatic habits, you will completely transform your AI experience. You'll move from battling a frustrating, restrictive daily constraint to wielding a truly limitless tool. So, my final question to you is, which of these token-saving rules are you going to implement in your very next prompt? Take control of your context window, and I'll see you in the next explainer.